Look at me. What you perceive creates an illusion of who I am.
You don't know me.
You don't know me.
These arms hold the weight of my ambition. These hands craft efficiency. I build machines that gather light and give energy to my needs. Solar panels that power to make our future green.
You don't know me.
You just see me. My fingers are on the pulse of man's quest. I build robotics to inform what's next. In these innovations lie our success.
You don't know me.
I will belong to no limits. I code, I build, I create, I make.
You don't know me. You don't know me.
You don't know me.
But you will.
As my one-year anniversary approaches in less than a month, I bring you one of the most unique guests I've ever had on the show. Breaking Into is next.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Lives. Breaking Into.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Black Hollywood Lives Breaking Into. I am your host, James Lott Jr. And of course, you can follow me at James Lott Jr. where James Lott Jr.'s are found. There's actually, I think there's only one. It's just me. I'm not sure. My father's James Lott Sr. I have another guy who has a suffix, too. He's a junior also.
Yes.
We are the juniors. I have a question to ask you about that, actually.
Okay.
It's about that. He is a flight surgeon. Okay, folks. Like, first I was like, what does that mean exactly? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that because, like, okay, you're in the air. Are you flying at the same time? And no.
Right.
He was a flight surgeon in the Air Force. Yep. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's done so much. He's also a persistence coach, which I want to talk about that because I'm a life coach also too. So I want to talk about what that is exactly. Mm-hmm. He's currently works as a medical director with the MBA, of course, in Sacramento. And we're just gonna get right into it because he has so much to talk about. Dr. Clarence Lee Jr.
Yes,
that's right.
Thanks,
See,
sir.
the fans.
Thanks for having me on. I like that.
Okay, so you're a junior like I am.
Yeah.
And I feel all the time when people say, "Oh, you're James Lott." No, I'm James Lott Jr.
Yes.
I mean, how do you feel about your juniorness?
Ooh, I don't want to go too deep, too early.
Go deep, go early.
Well, I'll tell you what. My dad wasn't around when I was younger.
Okay.
And having him give me his name actually made me feel that I was important to him, and so enough so that he'd give me his name, and so I always included the Clarence Lee Jr. on everything, just because I just kind of felt like, hey, we have a great relationship now, but when I was younger, it really meant a lot to me that he gave me his name.
I have the my father is he's very high in the medical field here in Southern California, and so we have two different careers. So it's funny when I got his name. For a while, I was working in the same career for a while. I'm a former nurse, and I used to work and stuff. So it was like I had to live up to the name a little bit. Now I'm in a separate career, so it's kind of like now I can be myself, but I'm still James Lott Jr. I feel very strongly about the James Lott Jr. name.
Yeah, my son's the third.
You did it. I had girls. I had girls.
Yeah, you'll see it. You'll meet them in the.
God, it's like I didn't get any sons like that, so I could do the third. But yeah, I get the. But it's one of those things people always ask me. Do you feel like I can ask this to you too. Do you feel like it's a burden being a junior? I'm like, no.
No, not at all. No. Junior's unique. It's me. I'm the junior. I'm the one. I'm the one of those.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things you had a book called My Mom Says.
Oh yeah.
Which I like that, and it's Words of Wisdom, and we're going to talk about persistence coaching. But so how important is your mom?
Oh, she was everything growing up for me. Honestly, like I said, me and my dad didn't develop our relationship until later, and so I went to my mom for everything. Yeah. I feel like in the Black community that's very common, and so as I kind of strived in life and said I wanted to do certain things, I came up with this line. Well, my mom says when folks were asking me, well, why do you think you can do blah 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 blah? Why do you think you're smart enough to do this? And I'd be like, well, my mom says that. I'm special. And then that was the end of the story. I was like, okay, all right, dude, your mom said it. Okay, we're going to leave it alone.
Yeah, that's fine. She said it. That's fine. Yes.
Yeah.
And where'd you grow up?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Love Kansas City.
Yeah.
I was just telling somebody the other day, I want some Gates barbecue right now.
That's big time.
I want some burnt ends right now.
Put it out there, Gates Barbecue. You got to get some.
Okay, here's the thing about Gates Barbecue, what kills me. Or just in the Midwest, I love the Midwest. My family's in Kansas. I used to go visit. you get like a box o' meat for like $13.99. When I first went, the first time I went there, I was like,
Mixed plate, baby.
that's what I got. And I was like, it's all this meat. I'm like, oh my God, I'm rich. And it was all delicious. I mean, I love when they yell everything out. I love Gates, which is a nice
Gates
chain
Barbecue, Kansas City, Missouri. If you go, you gotta have Gates.
You have to do that. So good, so good. I like Kansas City. What is the Midwest? What have you carried on with you from the Midwest, living in other places?
I did medical school in Philadelphia, and I just probably say that just homey feeling, good to people type of thing. Like when I first moved to Philly, I got a pretty funny story. When I first moved to Philly, first time I got on the subway, the lady's behind this glass little hole. She's behind that, and she goes, I walk up and she goes, what?
That's very
And I'm like, I start apologizing because I thought I did something. Am I in the wrong one? I'm sorry. I'm not from here. I'm trying to figure out where to go. And she ended up being a really, really nice lady, but she was like, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
Yeah. That's East Coast.
And so that I'd probably say I never left, me, I'm nice. I talk to people, elevator, I say hi. Everybody looking at the ground on their phone.
That's so Midwest.
That's yeah. So
oh my
I'm still
God.
that way.
Yeah, so when I go to a Hy-Vee or a Price Chopper, I know my stuff.
Oh,
I know
man,
my stuff.
you
I know
do.
my
You
stuff. When I go
feeling at
there
home.
and they comment on your food. So I get the beans, I love the little beans. But we get a Hy-Vee. And she said Hy-Vee. I was like, that's right, Marissa, you know Hy-Vee. And she's like, and it was like, so yeah, the beans, I just like, oh, those yams. I love those yams. I made them last week. I'm like, and no one gets upset in line. Everybody just kind of waits. You know, in California, like, okay, can you hurry up? Come on, bitch, hurry up. Go. But no, in the Midwest and in Canada, everybody's just like,
man, it's easy going. It's
easy
easy going, saying hi, speak to people you don't know.
Yeah.
Very common.
I love that very much. Okay, so I want to get to we have the coaching thing and we have the stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the coaching thing. We'll get back to the flight thing then too. Okay, I came to coaching later in life. I'm a little older than I look. Us black folks, how we do.
Yeah.
But I came to it and it became my calling. It was a calling. It called out to me. I felt. With all your, say you had all this other experience.
Yeah.
Did this coaching kind of come to you saying where was it like a calling to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd probably say, I got to it from practicing medicine. So when I got into medicine, I wanted the platform. So I wanted to be able to, make a positive impact in people's lives through the practice of medicine. As I got into medicine and corporate medicine, I started to have less and less time with the patient. Less and less time with the patient. To keep the lights on, you got to keep it running. Well, anyway, I wasn't able to go as deep as I wanted to. And even though I could give a patient a prescription and say this is what you need to do to improve your life, they weren't always motivated to do it.
Okay.
And so then the deeper questions come.
Yes,
why aren't you? Why isn't that?
Yes.
Then that's when. So that's how I got into the kind of this coaching space of teaching people about persistence and teaching people about the importance of continuing on. And so I kind of my foundation of that. It took me 5 years to get into medical school.
Okay.
And people ask me all the time, what did I think was going to happen after 3? What you thought I'm going to change? It's 3 years. In 3 years, you still ain't in. What's up? But I think most people know what they want to do. They have a vision for their lives, and I just think they give up too early.
You hit something, because we're going to use some school you guys out there a little bit, because we're going to be life coach to coach. I actually agree with that. I feel like people do know, but either they give up early, or they figure they can't do it, or they don't really know the route to they know the route, but they're afraid to unlock the route to go do it.
Yeah.
There are some people, I'm here just to help. I'm like a conduit. I'm here to help you get from A to B, because I know you already know what B is. Just gotta get there.
Yeah, and a lot of it is mental coaching. A lot of it is psychology, and so most of the book. That's what I talk about. Yeah. Kind of these foundational thoughts that are going to allow you to persist, because everybody's hurt. Don't quit, right?
Yeah.
Knowing it that's not it. Everybody knows what to do. I feel like it's just how can I continue to do it after 50 doors have closed, or where do I how do I draw down deep and pull out that drive when nothing looks like it's going to work for me.
And you're right. It is the later stuff. It is like, okay, first you're excited. You're going to do this.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever. It is that kind of month 5, or month 6.
I mean, it's New Year's resolution.
Yes, exactly.
That's all it is.
It's February, March, April. You're
January to gym hot. Okay.
yeah,
Treadmill's popping.
It's so true. And then February comes.
Yeah,
it's
February, March, April, and
Yeah.
then you see who's real.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's so I like when I read that it was persistence. I had a feeling that's exactly what it was. But do you have a way you describe persistence coach? If someone says, "What's a persistence coach?" What do you say?
Yeah, so I basically tell them I teach people how to keep going toward their vision. I mean, it's as simple as that. And like I said, everybody kind of knows what they want. Everybody has a vision for their life. You know, I teach people how to continue in that. You know, and I think a lot of it, draws from just kind of internally. Why do you want to do something in the first place? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if I can get you to connect with your why, I can get you to connect with some pain that's associated with not doing it.
Yeah.
Then if you don't do it, you're going to feel this way. If you do it, you're going to get this, So, but no, it's great. It's great work. It's great work. I do, write, speak, all about keep going.
Well, I love it. And some people always say, well, it's habit. It's developing the habit of doing it.
Yes.
The habit of working towards it. Because a lot of times it's just kind of, once you develop that and you're used to doing something every day towards it, and then it kind of works, right?
Yeah, stay dedicated to the action is what I say. When you're dedicated to taking action, massive action, doing everything that you want to do. The thing that, this is typically how the conversation goes when I ask somebody what they want to do. They tell me, I want to do this. I feel like I can do this. I feel like I can do that. Okay, great. All right, we got it. Cool. Okay. You want to do this? We're ready to rock. What'd you do today?
Right.
And then there's birds chirping.
Right.
Oh, but you about this life. This is what you want to do. What'd you do today?
Yep.
Like you know what I mean. So I help people kind of put these plans of action in place and stick to it.
Is there a difference for you? Have you seen a difference in age groups in terms of their dedication?
Yes. So I would probably say I think people. I'm 35, so I think people 30s, 40s. I think they kind of grew up. My era kind of grew up in this. Hard work, put in your time.
It's me. I'm 47.
Work toward whatever retirement. But this idea that it's going to take some time was kind of ingrained in. People work 20 years, pension. I mean, that was my era, right?
Yeah.
It's going away now. People, these retirement plans aren't there. But the idea was that you're going to be staying at something. People stay on their jobs 30 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, my dad retired from the post office 30-something years, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the younger folks, 20s, even getting ready to be 30s, they want to quit. They want things to happen real fast. They wanted to pop this, and they wanted to boom. But put that. It's so funny. Like I have a 10-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And there's this place called I can't remember the name of the place, but it's where you get instruments. You go in and you get to play instruments, and you get to do a recording of your song. So she likes to sing and play instruments and all this stuff. And I kid you not, we get out of there. They give us a little CD. We're playing it in the car. My 10-year-old daughter says, "Dad, when's my song going to be on the radio?"
Wow.
Like
I ain't your manager. I don't know what's going on. I don't have anything.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is supposed to be on the radio like tomorrow, right?
Right.
But yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah, it's just not that, that the idea that things take time. You know what I mean? And nothing's wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing's wrong with that. I mean, if you could be a doctor after a year,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, I have a problem with some of these programs. You want to take care of patients in 6 months? I'm like, no, I don't want anybody to take care of me in 6 months. I'm sorry.
Come on now.
I went to school for years to become a nurse. I had to work it out.
Yeah.
But it's so true. My generation really thinks of. We know that it takes time to get somewhere. We know there's no overnight success. We know it's, and we settle into. But in some cases, we kind of rely on it a little too much sometimes. Then inertia sets in sometimes. We're thinking, well, it'll happen one day, right? If I just keep them no, you got to actually do some things too.
Yeah,
I found that too.
Yeah, and that overnight success sometimes is comes after 10 years of preparation too, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're ready to pop. Opportunity door opens, boom, I'm ready. You know?
But I just wonder for you, in terms of your clients, has it presented a problem for you either direction? In terms of
no, not necessarily.
Okay.
I think you set the framework in place, and from what point of reference they're coming from, and then that's how you kind of address it. If it's younger folks, it's I'm stomping more on stay after it. So it just depends on who the person is.
And so I know you also did some stuff this summer, didn't you? Was it the Boss Summer Camp?
Yeah,
Some underserved males of color, which I'm very the direction. It's under the direction of Jerry Rice.
Yeah,
you know who that is. You know who that is. Google him.
Yeah, business
49ers.
of success after sports.
Tell me about that. That sounds good.
Yeah, so Everett Glenn, he's a lawyer, sports agent type guy that started the nonprofit, and his whole idea. If you sit down and talk to him, he's like, we need to tap into the capital of our young athletes and teach them how to be successful outside of sports, right? So you get in the NBA or you do these things, but how do you be successful afterwards? I think Magic is a great example of that. He's kind of parlayed his NBA career into an amazing entrepreneurial, career. I mean, he's doing extremely well. And so that's that. That's the basis of the nonprofit. But my work in that in that space is honestly, as I ascended the ladder, even in the military and in academia, more degrees I got, the higher up I got, the less people looked like me.
Yes.
And then you start asking questions. Well, why is that? And everybody has their whatever excuse they want to say of why that is. But at the end of the day, like, it was a problem, and so I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to use my life to do something about it. And so I started mentoring, and I'm all over the place doing that work because that's where I'm most passionate about. I see young black boys, and I see myself, and I know it's not necessarily what the world puts on you, what they say you're supposed to be. It's really about what you believe in yourself. And so, with my persistence coaching, with my speaking and my writing, it's more of speaking to that individual, like speaking to their heart, who they are, their inner person, and lifting them up and encouraging them.
Well, one of my mottos is lift each other up, pay it forward, and share knowledge. That's my big thing here. You just spoke part of that in there. And one reason why I have you on my show is because I'm trying to show people out there, I have a predominantly black audience, that we come in many different professions.
Oh, yeah, we out here now. Come on now.
Yes, I mean,
here.
But I'm saying that we're not, and that's why I'm saying I want to really mention that you mentor men of color, young men of color, because we're on Black Hollywood Live. We can talk black stuff.
Yeah, okay, good.
I mean, I want to talk about, because we're going to talk some black stuff for a second. We're both black men who have worked very hard where we are today, but we came up in a semi-different era. It's tough for black men out there today, and the young black men today have it really tough. And I don't envy them at all.
Yeah, it's rough, and I think for me, I want to work on the thought process that is going on in the young men's head. Like, in your head, what do you think is possible? What do you think about yourself, right? And, I always try to contrast it with what you see on TV or what main media is going to make you feel about yourself, or what somebody that hasn't had the opportunity to interact with a lot of people like you are going to say about you, right? So, I base my work in building the individual up. So it's, personal development, develop that inner person. So then when you go out into society and they want to put this stuff on your head, you know who you are. You know who you are. So when I see young brothers out, and it's, my dad, he didn't let me wear my pants down. Like, my dad was a Marine. A Marine.
Wow.
I was trying to come up in the house with. Oh, it was not happening. Okay, and so I know, in the generation is the same, but this is where, I'm glad you talk about this. This is one of the controversial things, and I want to bring it up because I got a lot of people that disagree with me on this.
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready.
So I do not believe that a person should be judged on how they look, right? So a lot of people say, well, if you're trying to be successful, then you need to look the part. You need to dress like this. You need to speak like this. You need to do that. Well, who gave that person the power to set the tone on what is appropriate dress, right? Yeah. And so I tell my wife, I go out and I have these things I call them public education days.
Okay, yes.
Public education days. We're going to go and educate. And the only question my wife asked me is, you going to bring the chain out today?
That's the chain. Oh, my God.
So I got my J's. I got my fitted hats. I got my Run DMC shirts. What was fresh about when I grew up, what was fresh, I still think that's fresh.
Yes.
Crease my pants, it still looks good.
So
you understand what I'm saying?
I used to do that too.
So I go out, public education days, and I interact with the community, and then I have conversations, and I let them tell me what they think about somebody that looks like me, and then I educate them. Yeah. Right? So I had one lady, and I'll tell it quick, but I got my wife's wedding ring from Jared's. We're going to Jared's to get her ring serviced. We're getting a ring serviced, first of all. And the lady comes and she goes, an older Caucasian lady. She goes, "Oh yeah, God, cool, awesome. Like, so what do you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm in the Air Force." And I'm reeling her in, right? I'm not giving. I'm just gonna bait and hook, bait, hook. I'm in the Air Force. Oh, cool, awesome. So, so after you get out of the military, do you like? Okay, picture what she's seeing. It's on my public education day. So, are you gonna like? Are you gonna go to school and kind of like better yourself, like maybe get a degree or something? And I'm bait and hook, right? No, I'm done with school. I'm good. So you don't think that like maybe a college degree or could be something good for you? And I go, no, I have a terminal degree. So a terminal degree, like, so what do you? I'm a doctor. So it gets better. So like a doctor, like you mean like a medical assistant? Like what do you like? What do you mean, doctor?
Doctor,
like
MD, like what?
MD, medical school.
Yes, yeah.
Like I practice medicine,
So funny.
and then it was like, oh my gosh, wow. But in that moment, I was able to educate her to move away from some of these assumptions, right? And that's what I think. I feel like that's what we have to do as a country is move away from, making these assumptions or putting assumptions. Let the brother open his mouth. Let the young brother open his mouth and speak to you, right? Let him speak. He's, you don't know what this dude has been through. I really like the intro about,
you don't know me.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that, because it's true. I mean, just interact.
But it's a very controversial thing, though. You're saying that the saggy pants are okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I just had this discussion with one of our co-hosts of this other show, Tehran, who wears a robe. He's a brother man who wears a robe. And I was like, what's the robe thing? And he explained to me, it's really beautiful, about judging you in the content of your character, not how you look. And he's actually gone to law school, but he's totally smart and everything. Yeah. And he wears a robe. Yeah. And people get to saw him all the time. It's like, well, like, who's this like homeless guy or bum walking around? Yeah. He's a very smart guy. So it's funny that you came in and just said that on the show just now. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So it is very controversial.
Yeah, a lot of people don't agree. A lot of educated brothers. I've had, some great conversations. It's going backwards and we're supposed to be moving forward. And I'm like, no, by doing that, you give it power. By doing that, you give it power.
So you're saying the collective, like, but they will say they as non-blacks look at the way we dress and that we must not be smart. You're saying screw that, turn it around to them, and so they look at us and know that we are smart no matter how we dress.
Yeah, or just don't make assumptions.
Right.
Talk to the person. Don't necessarily assume things, and I grew up, Missouri, I moved around. I was in the South for quite a bit. A lot of racism, racism. Are you kidding me? I mean, Missouri's kind of been put on the map with the whole Ferguson thing, so people know. But it's real, know. And one of the things I said to myself was, because I was judged a lot by how I looked, was that I wasn't going to do that to somebody else. And actually, I set that pick in the ground because I felt the pain of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I see somebody, even young brothers now, I go up to them and I talk to them. Like, tell me what you want to do, what you're about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, pull up your pants, do this, whatever. No.
And what's really fun is I do volunteer work too with young men between 12 and 17, Black and Latino. And what's funny is when you just talk to them and give them attention, like you talk to them like a regular guy. They really appreciate it.
That's how it should be. I mean,
but sometimes we have a tendency to talk to them. Like I have a tendency, like I'm a father and grandfather. I have a tendency to put that face on. I'm not their daddy. I'm like, who the F are you? Like, But or you start judging them. They can see the judgment in your eyes. And either they have tattoos or you see their hair.
Right.
So when you come in with no judgment. And say, hey, I'm James, and I'm going to lead this workshop or whatever. You just talk to them. I just found they're more receptive.
Yeah, big time.
They just don't talk.
I think anybody would though. I mean, I think anybody would.
Let's remind people though that that people are teenagers and that they're people too.
Yeah.
Not just adults, but they're people also.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a big deal. I feel really strongly about it, and so when I get the opportunity to see a young person, I tell them, and they say, "Oh man, you look young," and I'm like,
"You do look young."
I'm like, listen.
I said you black folks.
I'm young, and you can be doing exactly what I'm doing and looking young as well.
Yes. That's
You
true.
know, so.
We don't have we're not the secret. We're not the only ones. We can. Everybody just do what we do. Like there's a million folks who can be a doctor, so and people can do my job in a minute, second. But we're just saying that we are examples that you can do it too. Like if we can do it, you can do it too.
That's crazy. I'm just gonna bring this up too. Is, you know, I talk to young guys. It's who you can identify yourself with. So a lot of young brothers can identify themselves with an athlete, or they can identify themselves with a hip hop star very easily, right? But you also can identify yourself with scientists, lawyers, and doctors, right? Because historically, we have been in those fields across the board, right? So it's, you know, I think one of the things that I was able to do at an early age was to identify myself in all of those people. I played basketball in college.
Yeah, right.
I can hoop.
Yeah.
I listen to hip hop.
Yes.
But also can kill it in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so I talk to these young guys, go, I'm gonna get this money, I'm gonna go to the league. And then I challenge them. I say, okay, do you know the average span of a professional athlete's career? Okay, he might get 2 to 3 years. Say he make $1 million for 2 to 3 years. Now he makes $3 million. Okay, I'm gonna go to medical school. I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna practice medicine for, lifespans. I'm just gonna be conservative.
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah. Right.
I might make $500,000 a year, depending on, you know, the specialty.
Yeah.
Well, you went to the league for 3 years. You made $3 million. I practiced medicine for 40 years, $500,000 a year. I made $20 million.
Yeah.
So, if you got that money,
Yes.
like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach my motivation. Is I always try to give people, you know, a counter logic to conventional wisdom.
Yeah, I like that. I had Kerry Rose, the actor and former football player, here on my show recently. We actually talked about how we need to start changing people's minds that to get to the NFL, it's like 1%.
Oh man,
like
it's so much easier to be a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was tying it together. I'm like, it's like, hello, folks, or host or whatever, or producer. I'm like, it's easier to do those things.
So much easier
than trying to get to NFL or NBA. Like, it really is a low percentage compared to everybody in the world who plays high school and college. I mean, it's not that easy, folks.
And don't get it. You know, I don't want folks to get it twisted. It's not like I would ever, you know, tell a young person like, don't pursue your dreams, because that would be counter to what everything my whole message. But the idea is, at a young age, if people can identify themselves with all these different fields, then everything is on the table. Yes. Everything is on the table. So I don't want you to take going to medical school off the table. I don't want you to take going to law school off the table. No. I want you to consider them all equally.
Right.
And then say, I'm multi-talented.
Okay. Do several.
Let me see what I want to do with my life. Right.
Exactly.
Like, I want it to be that.
I love options.
You know? Yeah.
I love having options.
Come on now.
Because now I've had several careers.
It's a beautiful thing.
No, it is, because it's helped me today.
Yeah.
When I apply for things or whatever, I have lots of experience. I have research insurance and medical. I have all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Event planning. I can do all kinds of stuff because I kept my options open, like you said. I was like, I'll try this. I'll do this. I'll try that. Degree. I got letters after my name. I got a lot of letters after my name. Thank God. I mean, I worked very hard for them.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know.
We out here. I tell people all the time.
Folks see have you here, guys. With the face, he's here.
Folks see me in the clinic.
Can we show just a picture of him in front of the plane? Yes, because you were in the Air Force.
Yes.
And so, speaking of just even continuing this conversation about that, so how was the Air Force for you? Like, what did it do for you?
You know, it was great. My dad was a Marine, like I mentioned earlier.
So did he like you being in the Air Force?
He said, you're going to the Air Force. He's
funny. Okay.
He's like, you're not going to go to the Navy? No, not a Marine. Okay. So the Air Force was great. I traveled the world. I got to see a lot of really cool places. Got to work with a lot of great people. Learned a lot about leadership. Learned a lot about giving. Military is amazing. I tell people it's not for everyone. Right. So it depends on where you're coming from. So for me, you know, I knew I was going to serve. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but the opportunity presented itself when I got accepted into medical school. It's like, hey, how am I going to pay for medical school?
Yeah.
And so I applied for a scholarship and I commissioned as a second lieutenant, and then they sent me to medical school. Wow. But Air Force was great. I initially started out training in surgery, and then a recruiter came and talked to us about being a flight surgeon. And the second line out of his mouth was, "We're going to teach you how to fly jets." I'm like, boop.
In. Oh, in.
I'm in. No, don't say no more. Where do I sign? I don't need any more. Where do I sign? And so in the
fly.
Air Force, they have a specific role. Wow. He's called a flight surgeon. He practices aerospace medicine. So I practice aerospace medicine.
Okay.
My patients were primarily pilots. Okay. I was the only medical provider, well, the flight surgeon in a role, is the only individual that can say when a person can fly.
Okay.
So for me to say you are capable of doing your job, I need to understand and be able to do that. So if I say it's okay for you to fly a jet, and we're not talking little Cessna's single engine prop. We're talking jets.
Yeah, that picture now
tens
is like,
of millions of dollar jets. And so the Air Force in its wisdom has decided we need doctors that can fly to make sure these guys are medically qualified to get in the air and do it. So yeah, that jet's actually the T-38. That's our training jet. It wasn't a mission jet. That's the one we spent most of our training hours in. Wow. Yeah, it's cool, man. Cool. Flying a jet is amazing.
You can fly a plane.
Flying a jet's amazing.
That must be just like the most amazing experience.
Oh, it's just so exciting. You feel so free.
God, I guess so.
You can just move in all directions, all planes, flip. Oh gosh, it's amazing.
God.
It was a lot of fun.
So I mean, okay, so, like I said, there's so much to ask you about that. Okay, so. I don't know where to go because you're a surgeon, you do medical school, but you're also a jet pilot.
Yeah.
I mean, like, have you ever had any really crazy situations? I mean,
yes. A few in-flight emergencies where I was in two-seaters doing some training, where we had to come back early, and you kind of get your heart rate goes up a little bit, trying to figure out if the engine's going out or whatever. But I'd probably say those are probably some of the most interesting times is when you have in-flight emergencies. But I'll tell you this story. So I was a flight surgeon is not attached to a hospital. So so in the organizational structure, you can be a doc and work for a hospital, and in your leadership command are other physicians. So you work for other physicians. You're in a medical group. Flight surgeons are typically operational assets. So that means you're attached to an operational unit. So you move out with your unit. You're like the medical element of the unit. Okay. So I got to go on a lot of missions, and I have combat hours. So the first time I flew a combat mission, I was deployed. I didn't tell my wife.
Oh my God, I love it.
Because it was voluntary.
Yeah.
Right. So the doc doesn't necessarily have to go, but after you go on the road so much with they're your bros, or your brothers, this is your crew. After you go on the road so much, you want to get in the game.
That makes sense.
Right.
Makes sense.
So first time I flew a combat mission, got some combat hours. I didn't tell my wife until I got back, and she flipped out.
I went too. I was like, excuse you. Yes, like, what was that about? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's like, you actually went. Oh my gosh. But yeah, you get to fly. It was awesome. It was awesome. Got to do some cool missions.
Why surgery?
Great work.
Why surgery? Of all the parts of the medical, so many different medical professions.
Yeah,
in there.
so I liked surgery. I loved operating, so I liked being in the OR. I loved anatomy, so I liked. It's funny. I tell I in medical school, I just wanted to see what was underneath the skin. Like I was that type of person. I was just like, let's get them open, let's see what's in there. So like first year, anatomy cadaver lab was like so much fun. But so. In the operating room, the surgeon he's running the show.
Yeah, I know you are. Honestly.
He's literally the man.
Do you play music in there and stuff?
And so you can do whatever you want. Okay. And the first time I operated,
tell me.
First time I operated with a brother.
Yeah. Oh, how funny.
It was hip hop all
God.
day long. It was so cool though. I mean, just imagine. Yeah. These brothers
in there cutting open somebody.
Hey, okay, is the patient ready? All right. Hey, turn that 50 up. But that's the stuff they say on TV. But it was a lot of fun. I just loved the attention to detail that was involved and the specificity of it and how it was high stakes. I mean, you're operating as high stakes. So I just loved it.
Have you ever lost a patient?
Not me as a surgeon, not me as a surgeon, but I've been on the team that's been on the care team and have lost patients. Yeah, absolutely. First one is in medical school, and just that learning how to forget it either. Learning how to deliver that news is it's crazy.
You never forget it. The first time I lost a patient, you just never forget that.
No, you don't.
It's kind of crazy. So the Air Force. How long were you in the Air Force?
about 9 and some change, almost 10 years.
Yeah, and so why did you decide to get out?
So a few reasons. Again, my job, I was an operational asset, so I deployed quite a bit. Yeah. So I deployed 5 times in less than 5 years. And so I was 1-to-1 the entire time I was active duty, which means I was home just as much as I was gone.
Okay.
So if I was gone 3 months, I got to be home 3 months, 1-to-1, right? The whole time. And you know, my priorities changed a lot. I got married, started having kids, you miss stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? My first son, I was gone the first 6 months of his life, and it hurt. Wow. So I'm overseas trying to do the mission, but I'm distracted, and I knew the moment I'm distracted, okay, it's somebody else's turn, you know, because my mind is back home.
Yeah, back at home.
That's really what drove it to get out. And then the second piece, which, you know,
yes,
the pay.
Yes.
So when you're in the medical field,
yes,
my pay went up almost 5 times when I got out. Yeah, they can't compete with. They can't compete.
Yeah, that's good. You did your time though. You did your service. You did
Absolutely,
your time.
Somebody else's turn.
Yeah, somebody else's turn. I like that. Somebody else's turn.
Yeah.
So you're in Sacramento. So how did you get to Sacramento? We have a Sacramento connection.
Air Force. Yeah. So Air Force. I was stationed up at Bill. I flew out of Bill and got to Sac and first intro to California, and we're not leaving.
And Sacramento is funny because, like I said, my kids and grandkids, you guys know at home, know they're out there in Sacramento. And it's a place that I've been going to since I was like 11. My father was in the Senate and all this stuff, so I know all that. I know it's a a lot of state workers.
Yeah.
A lot of trees. Yeah. More trees per capita than any other place in the country. And a lot of squirrels that will stop you and rob you of food. Those squirrels are dangerous up there, and they're protected by law. You can't touch them.
Oh man! Along with the wetlands and all this.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But Sacramento's changing. I'd say they're changing a lot there. And so, what exactly are you doing there? And so, folks at home, what you're doing there?
So I work. I wear a few hats.
Okay.
So I work for a company. I direct a clinic for a company that practices occupational medicine. So we deal with large employers and deal all their workers' comp. Recently, like I said, I wrote a book. I do a lot of speaking, and I just started doing live motivational events. So that's probably my biggest. That's actually why I'm in SoCal right now.
Yeah.
So down in San Diego.
I mean, that's just my show, of course.
Yeah.
Here for other stuff.
Yeah. So it's like if I can fit it all in, it's perfect. So doing live events, Impact, Purpose, and Destiny. I got one in San Diego coming up on Friday. But yeah, just trying to bring value to the world, honestly. Trying to do the most and fulfill what I feel like I can bring to the world. And so I'm an encourager. So everything that I do, that I spend my time in, is in that encouraging lane.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Were you always a multitasker? Were you always a person who had several interests? I've always been a person who's had several interests.
Yeah, I have. And honestly, I feel like that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because conventional wisdom tells you
one thing and that's it.
You need to do this and focus on that. And you do need to focus. Say, when I was in medical school, that's all I did, right? So there's times when you have to focus in life, but that doesn't mean that's all you're able to do. Like all the great people that I read about in history, they were multi-talented. I mean, Benjamin Franklin did all kind of stuff. Brother was a businessman, poet, scientist, inventor. You know, nowadays it's like, business mogul. That's it.
Right.
Like, I encourage people, pursue your vision, pursue your dream. If whatever you want to do, you can do it. You got a long life. If you're blessed with the life, you're blessed with time, get out there and add value in any way that you can.
And why not?
Yeah, why not?
You want to do an album, then go record an album.
Do it. Write a book.
Write a book.
Whatever.
Just do it. And especially in LA, it's a joke down here. We're the hyphenate city. Everybody's hyphenate. You talk to an Uber driver, and they're like, "Yeah, I got my new album coming out tomorrow, and my performance." Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about seeing a goal through, and sticking after it. Going back to the persistence piece, there's a lot of value in that, and once you have a vision that you want to do, sticking to that, I think, is very, very important. So as we include in the conversation, I'm not talking about I tried this once, and now I think because that didn't work.
Yeah.
Now I think I'm gonna pursue Plan B or pursue Plan C. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about having a vision, deciding what you want to do, and then seeing it through. Now that vision could be, I got a vision to start this business. All right, took care of that. That's rolling. Now I got a business to do this, or I got a vision to do this. Got a vision to do that. Right. So it's not this hopping, and I like to bring that up because that's what a lot of people do. A little bit of work here, a little bit of work here, a little bit of work here. They don't line up a lot of persistence and get a lot done in one direction, right? Because they're doing a lot of different things. So I just wanted to make sure I included that and say, hey, I'm not talking about bouncing from, because that's how you can spend a whole life and not get a lot of things done.
Exactly.
So it's more of, hey, if you want to do it, but come up with the vision first.
Yeah, no, I like that. No, I'm glad you said it because I wanted to clarify that too. So everything that I do finish it. I mean, I do finish things that I try. But you're right. When I'm doing something and I'm fully engaged in it, I am when I went to life coaching school, I was a life coach in the zone. Then I completed it, then went to something else. Completed that. And it was like, now I got these 3 things that I can do, so to speak, in in 3 years or whatever. So, yeah. That's why I'm glad you said that, because I want people to think, we're not saying just hopping around and stuff.
Right.
What is some advice that was given to you? It doesn't matter if it was the Air Force or your mother or something given to you, that is kind of like your everyday mantra, so to speak, that just serves you well on a daily basis.
One of my mentors, Colonel Williams, he was a retired colonel in the Air Force. He's in San Antonio. That's where I did undergrad. But he told me when I started to do this motivational work, I wanted to do mentoring, I wanted to speak. He said to me really early on, you're gonna have to make a decision. Okay. Either you're gonna be going after impressing people, or you're gonna try to impact people. And so when he told me that, I was like, okay, well, what exactly do you mean? Because I'm out here trying to get it. I'm trying to show people you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. You can do it. You know what I mean? I gotta have some credibility if I'm coming in there talking about you can do something. I ain't did nothing. And so that side, okay, I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, okay, well, the more you stack on those accolades and you tell them about all the things that you've done, everything you've accomplished, the further they're going to separate themselves from you, and they're going to think that they're not like you. He goes, but if you want to actually impact somebody, tell them about your failures. Tell them about when you screwed up. Tell them about when you failed. Tell them about when you fell on your face. Tell them about when you didn't think you could make it. Tell them about that. Because then immediately, so when I go and speak at medical schools, first thing I come out with, a lot of people try to shy away from their failures when you messed up, you screwed up, like it's a bad thing. It's not. I go into medical schools and or pre-med, when I talk to pre-meds, people that are trying to get into medical school, I tell them, yeah, you know what? First 5 years I tried to get in, every school I applied to told me no. Right. And then they're like, so you telling me I'm afraid of getting rejected, but it's not that big of a deal? And then I tell them, I've never had one patient ask me, how long did it take you to get into medical school? It's a moot point. It doesn't matter now. You know what I mean? Right. So, I'd probably say that's the one advice is, don't aim to impress people, aim to impact people. And if you want to impact people, tell them about your failures.
I like that. Relatability. Relatability is really a great tool to impact the most people. It really is.
Man, as soon as I get, and I really love young people, but as soon as I get a person or a young person to say, wait a minute, you just like me. Exactly.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. As soon as I get somebody to say that, boom, I know I got them.
Yeah.
I know I got them. Because then everything I've done, they can do. Yes. Right? So it's I get excited.
I agree with you on that one. I completely agree because I'm just like, for me, also sometimes it's even older people. Like I'm a professional organizer also in my trade. And I've had older clients who get a little stubborn. Yeah. Or they get like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, no, I know what it feels like to have some days you don't feel like doing your house. I understand that. And once I let them know that I understand that and I know how it feels too, I'm not some high and mighty guy coming in telling you, organize every day and you'll be better. It's like, no, I understand some days you don't feel like it, but I'm going to show you a way to do this so that even on those days you don't feel like it still won't be as bad as it is now.
Yeah, honor the struggle. Honor the struggle, and I think a lot of people that, they're just people that are going through stuff, they want somebody to honor their struggle and speak to the difficult times, things that they're trying to get through, and I think that's held really highly for people. They want to know that you understand them before, you're gonna come in here and try to tell me what I need to do with my life.
People want to be heard.
Yeah,
that's like someone. It was funny. Someone told me, one of my guests. I learn stuff from you guys all the time on my shows, and said to me, he changed his opinion about homeless people. He was saying that every once in a while you'll be driving down the street and a person homeless walk against the lights.
Yeah.
Slow across the street, and he goes, I just get mad at them. Of course, like I'm in a hurry. I got things to do. Oh my God! He goes, wait a minute. They just want to be seen. They feel invisible. It's a weird way of trying to be seen.
Yes.
I'm going to stop the traffic by just walking. They have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And I was like, I never even thought of it before. And I'm like, oh my God, I get it. But like everybody wants to be seen and heard.
Yes.
No matter what age you are.
Yes. It's
that validation that I have something. I'm here.
Yeah, and I'm valuable, and I've got something to bring to the world. Absolutely.
It's an amazing thing. And I think coaches, I love coaches and I love coaching. I'm part of the International Coach Federation. Okay. And you go to these meetings and I get a natural high. Like I feel with you right now, I feel like a high. I feel like I'm high. It's a natural because people don't just come to this profession for just the money. Yeah. We obviously have something invested. I feel like for you have something invested. Yeah. That's why you're in this coaching space.
Yeah. One of the pains that I see is when I interact with someone. And, they tell me about what their vision was and what they wanted to do. But then the next thing that comes out of their mouth is, why it didn't work or why it didn't happen for them. And so I always asked myself when I was younger, because I talked to people in my family and everybody's story was like that. I used to be good at this, or I really wanted to do this. But, life happened. I had kids. This, right? And then all the excuses kind of came after that. And I always wondered, how is my life going to be different? How is my life going to be different than, wanting this dream and then not doing it, And so, I think that's the biggest pain that I have. And that's the pain that I'm using my energy to alleviate in the world is telling people, hey, look, let's double down on you. Mm-hmm. Let's double down on you, what you want to do, what vision that you have for yourself. Double down on that, and then let's get it popping.
Because it does hurt. It hurts me when I see someone stuck. Yeah. When you can feel it, because I know feeling when you feel that they're stuck, like it's there, and either their self-esteem or someone's told them you can't do it, or something like. Let's unstick that. Like you can let's get that out of your brain, the white noise or black noise, whatever noise you want to call it, out of your brain. Right. To unlock that door so you'll go through it. Yeah. When you see them not going through the door, it's just like, oh my God. Or you see opportunities coming to them, they don't answer the door. Yeah. You're like, answer the door. Yeah. I'm speaking metaphorically, of course, but like answer the door. There's something right there, and you're just like, you're blocked.
All I'm thinking about is that new documentary that just came out about the imprisonment rates.
Oh wow! Is there one?
And it's I'm sorry, it's either 13 or 14. I think it's So it's basically talking about the imprisonment rates and how the prison populations have grown, and it's a massive problem. But I think at the root of it is identity. Yeah. What do you think about yourself? What do you believe about yourself?
Completely.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's really what it is.
Completely. Yes.
But no, it's great. I think it's called 14th. I'm blanking on it right now because I got these cameras on me.
Yeah, I know there's cameras on me. Let's talk. Don't worry about it. No, it's one of those things where I always feel like that. We come from slavery. Yeah. We come from a slavery mentality still sometimes for some people, where you almost enslave yourself in your thoughts of
13,
what you... 13. Yeah. Where you enslave yourself in your thoughts, and you're chained to your thoughts of how you see yourself or how others see you, and you have to break that chain, basically.
Yeah.
You have to unbind yourself out of that.
And not look. You know, we were talking about that validation too. I think a piece of it is also being able to self-validate because, you know, I'm telling you, man, people see me now. Bruh. I see even young brothers that see me, even young guys in the military that would see me. They'd be like, man, you ain't been through nothing. What you grew up in the suburbs? What your mom? You had a silver spoon. What you ate? You know, and it's crazy. You know,
opens his mouth, you can tell he's
You know, so it's crazy how. You know, it's hard for folks to believe, you know, about these progressions, but it's also about what they believe about themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What you believe about
Let's
yourself.
talk that briefly about that about our looks, because you know in our society, in our community, light skin and dark skin, there's a whole spectrum.
Yeah, bring it up, man. Come on.
You know how it is.
This is good.
I'm medium brown, and you're a little lighter, and I always have talks to people on my shows about how people perceive that if you're darker skinned, you can't be smart or in authority. If you're lighter skinned, of course, means you're a little better. What's going on? So, what are some of the things that have happened for you in terms of that whole?
So I'm gonna tell you, when I was in the 7th grade,
okay,
I would actually go home and cry in the evenings because I wasn't dark skinned.
Wow.
Grow up in the black community. My mom's half Mexican.
Okay.
And so that's where that came from. My dad's brown skin.
Yeah.
In the black community where I grew up in the South, that complexion was a big deal.
Yeah, I know.
And so I was white boy my whole life. Even my family.
Yes.
I'm like, how the hell you call me white boy? You know who my daddy is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I mean,
but your family can say some stuff to you.
You know,
though.
and so
yeah.
you know, people have used that against me and saying, "Oh, well, it was easier for you. They like you.
Okay.
You know, you're closer to them, so they're more comfortable." But at the end of the day, you know, when people see me, they see a black man, they see a black male, and so when I see a brother, light skin, dark skin, whatever skin,
yes,
I know he didn't been through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know it. Ain't no question about it.
Nope.
You know, and it's so funny because that's one of the inner kind of that's one of my inner kind of like deep, like, man, I'm trying to get a tan as much as I can because in my head, the darker that I am, the more it validates what I'm talking about.
That's true. That's very true.
You know what I mean? Then you're not gonna be able to say, oh, you know, you light skin or whatever. You know, so I got some feelings about that too,
sure,
but no, absolutely not. People see me, I'm a black dude all day long.
Yeah.
And you know that's just the way it is. I'm funny, and I probably shouldn't say this, but
say it.
I was so. My son is brown skin. I prayed to God that the brother would have some color. I'm not gonna lie, God knows I'm telling the truth. I was like, Lord, let him have some color, because when he do well, they ain't gonna have nothing to say.
I know. I like being a little darker.
It was. Then my sisters like the brown skinned brothers too. They can't get with the light skin. But all my sisters,
give light skin brothers some love too. They're still black.
We out here.
You can't help it. I come from a very mixed race family, and they're all and a lot of them from Louisiana. They're all Creole. My father, they're all light skinned, and I'm one of the dark ones in the family. My brothers and sisters are all light. I'm like, I like being darker. I have no problem with that.
Man, I'm telling you, a whole year I cried, man, because I was tired of being a white boy. Shoot, I was tired.
But see, I had the problem of you speak very well. You must be vanilla or trying to be white. Because I'm darker speaking this way. Where my lighter skinned brother and sister, they got away with it more because they were lighter.
Yeah,
it's more acceptable. But I get the whole thing. Well, you're zebra. You're an Oreo. I got all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, we've got to get a little bit past that. You know, we've got to get past that in the community because it's what we believe about ourselves. If we believe that that's not appropriate or that's not likened to. And I'll tell you another thing people used to tell me, and I actually used to think it was a compliment when I was younger.
Tell me.
They used to say, yeah, but you're not black. You're not really black. Right? And so when my consciousness level was low, I thought that was like, oh wow, I'm making some bridges. You know, I'm moving up. You know, I'm actually, you know, making connections with this person when they were able to say that. Then as my consciousness rose, I'm like, that's actually an insult. Yeah. That's a very racist statement. You know, because, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, if you are now taking me out of this group
Yes.
and making me the exception, then you can keep all of your little thoughts and preconceived notions and stereotypes. You can keep all that intact and still interact with me because now you've taken me out of that, right? And so it's like, oh my gosh, I was dealing with these individuals that were straight up telling me what they thought about my people to my face and trying to compliment me by saying, you're not black.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I had the same experience.
It's crazy.
I had some people say, I don't think of you as black, James. I think of you as James.
Yeah.
And I used to the same thing. Think about, oh, it's a compliment. They actually accept me. Then I realized they say it later. You go, oh, wait a minute. So they have a certain view of what black is.
Right. Exactly.
And it's obviously negative.
Yeah. It's not you.
And I'm like,
it's not you.
Like,
That's what they're saying.
I grew up in South LA. I'm like, I grew up in the ghetto. I'm like, I'm black as whatever black people are. But we come in very different spectrums anyway, first of all. We're not all the same. Yeah. But I was like, oh, so you're saying I'm not the N-word, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Right. We out here. That's, you know, when I see patients and they oh my gosh, you're a doctor. Wow, I haven't seen him. Haven't seen a black doctor. I haven't seen a lot of black doctors. I'm like, yeah, we out here.
Yeah, they're hello. My uncle, Dr. Mark Lott, he's at Sentinel Hospital. He's
we out
doctor.
Here.
He's out there. This is why he's out there. So the last thing I ask is, because I can talk to you forever.
Man, this has been a lot of fun, actually. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. You have to come back again. I'm all about language. So I ask my same two questions to my guests. And I don't, you guys know at home, I don't prep them ahead of time. Unless they've watched the show and they know the questions, but I usually don't ask them. It's the same two questions. One, what word in the English language should we take out? Never say again.
First thing that
I'm sure
I'm gonna say too, but can't. I would
That's a good one.
Probably say can't and no, but can't more so can't.
Because actually it goes with everything we were saying in the show. Can't. But you say can't negates everything. You just all of a sudden the wall's up. Then you say can't, the wall's up.
Yeah,
that's I like that. And what word do you think we should say more of actually in vocabularies?
More of I am. But
ooh, I like that.
more of I am, and then affirming who you are. So positive affirmations.
I like
so
that.
Using I am in a positive way. We use I am. A lot of people use I am, and if they don't police their language, it's actually I just shot like a webcast video on like policing your language. Yes. But if you're not policing your language, what follows I am is like your deepest truth. So when you say I am whatever, that is really what you believe. And you know, I'm Christian. My book, I talk about my faith, and God says He's the great I am, the great I am. You know, so I am has power. So when you say I am whatever, I am beautiful, I am successful, I am wealthy, you know. I am a lender, not a borrower. That I am is very powerful. So I want people to use the I am in the positive, affirmative way more. That's what I would say.
Well, I am a fan of yours. And I am honored you were on my show today.
Oh man, thank you, man. It was great. I really had a great time. I hope, I hope it brought some value to folks. And ClarenceLeeJr.com if folks want to learn more about me.
Where they can find you on there.
Yeah, so if you want to find me, ClarenceLeeJr.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, everything. My Twitter handle is CM Lee Jr. And that's Instagram as well, CM Lee Jr. But I'm all about uplifting and encouraging people. And at the end of the day, you've got a vision. You've been put here for a reason, and I want to help you. I want to help you actualize that vision.
I like that. And I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. My blog that comes out every day, which is the superorganizeruniverse.com. My radio show, the SOS show on adrenalineradio.com every Friday morning, where we talk about life coaching stuff and all things there. Breaking Into has a Facebook page, so go ahead and like that page and like us there. You can find this show and others on the Black Hollywood Live.
Snap.
Black Hollywood Live, iTunes. I guess I'm a professional. I can still do this. iTunes and YouTube under Breaking Into. It's me, James Lott Jr. And you can follow us on there, of course, and all of our other shows on Black Hollywood Live. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio, Instagram @KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.